Three, two, one. Welcome to Abundance, a podcast program about the abundance mindset. My name is Zhou Fang. I am your host. Together, we will explore the abundance mindset and practice together. Welcome aboard. Hello there. Welcome back to Abundance, a podcast program about the world of abundance, the abundance mindset, and the practice of it. And I am your host and teacher, Zhou Fang. And previously, we talked about time. Time is not a commodity. And today, we are going to talk about rest, which is another very important principle in the abundance mindset practice. So why? Because when we are rested, we have more space and room to receive abundance or even to imagine what abundance could be. But when we are tired, when we are burnt out, when we are running on film, then we won't really have the capacity to think about what abundance could be like for us because we are just constantly grinding or trying to survive. So today we are going to address rest, and I want to particularly call out that rest is not lazy. A lot of us, especially in a capitalistic society, when we're not doing things, we are oftentimes perceived as, they're being lazy, or they don't want to work hard. Like if they rest, it means they're lazy and they're not working hard. So that kind of connection is kind of harmful because as human beings, we need to rest. We need to recharge. We need to replenish. We need to recover from that tiredness. And if we look around the world, rest is actually highly encouraged in many, many cultures. Like in Europe, nap culture is very popular. And also in Nordic cultures specifically, people take long vacations. And that's how people take time for themselves, take time for their family to rest. And resting is not just like idle or like doing nothing or sleep in. I mean, if sleep in gives you energy and makes you feel more refreshed and better, then yes, sleep in. I mean, from time to time, I love just getting up 2 hours later than usual on the weekend. But rest is a lot more than that. For example, Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith, she came up with 7 types of rest, which really kind of opened my eyes to the whole world of resting and how that can mean for abundance and the abundance mindset practice. And the 7 types of rest include physical rest, right? If we are just sitting outside, enjoying the sun, having a cup of tea, reading a book, that's kind of physical rest. And of course, taking naps and going to sleep, that's physical rest. And there's also mental rest, to take your mind off. People oftentimes say, I just want to take my mind off. So if we're able to take our mind off, to shift our focus from work and task, and I have to do this, and shift that mind, that mental state to, you know what, I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to go to the garden, or I'm going to go on a hike, or you know what, I'm going to take a swimming lesson, I'm going to take a ceramic lesson, I'm going to go paint. That's a mental rest, to shift our attention, our focus from the grind to something more relaxing, to something more nurturing or creative. And there is also emotional rest, according to Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith. Emotional rest very much is about, allow us to feel, to allow emotional to come up and to be with it. And also to not engage in a very toxic environment or sometimes very tiresome environment. Like say there is conflicts at work and I know I need to address it, but right now I don't have the capacity. It makes me angry and it upsets me. So I'm going to take an emotional rest. I'm going to focus on something that maybe about, watch my kid grow, or watch my pet play, or go have a conversation with my parents. I think that's part of the emotional rest, is very much related to the mental rest, but really depend on where you are, just in your mind and in your heart. Make sure that you do things that take care of your own well-being. And the next rest is social rest. We oftentimes think about, if I'm engaged in with other people or doing things, that's not resting. But for some people, socializing is actually very energizing and can really give you new ideas and kind of new imagination for tomorrow. So social rest is also one way to relax and allow ourselves to recharge. And there's also sensory rest. We talk about sound bath, right? Or have a very quiet retreat. Or even, people sometimes go to those floating facilities, just have a quiet, entirely dark, blackout float. That's sensory rest or sensory reset. And then creative rest. We mentioned, painting and going to make ceramic before. That's actually a way to be resting while creating something. So that's also connected to our mental wellness, is to use our creativity, use our hands, use our imagination to allow our brain to relax. And then last but not least, spiritual rest. For some folks, nature is spiritual. For example, for me, when I'm in nature, I feel like my soul is being taken care of. That for me is spiritual rest. And for some folks, perhaps going to the church, perhaps going to community, perhaps going to a temple or synagogue, to your spiritual kind of container where you feel you are protected, you're taken care of. So that kind of rest is really good for our spirit and for our soul. So that's called spiritual rest. And of course, depending on where you are or who you are, what your background is, rest may look differently for you. But I really want to emphasize on, only when we are rested, when we feel we are taken care of, we will be ready to receive or even pursue or even to imagine, to open up for prosperity, for abundance, to think about, you know what? I'm going to do my next project differently. I know how to do this now, but for the next one, perhaps I can be a little bit adventurous, I can be a little bit creative or innovative or collaborative. And that all comes from a rested mind or a relaxed mind. So that is one of the principles for abundance, and the abundance mindset is rest. And now I want to invite you to imagine, if you had the opportunity to rest however you would like, what would you do? And how would you like to be if not doing? How would you like to be? Just be present and to rest. Maybe rest your eyes, maybe rest your heart, rest your mind, rest your hands, or maybe just rest into a state where you feel you can just let go. And then when you come back, you'll be ready to receive abundance again. So if you enjoyed this episode about rest and previously about time, please like it. Please leave your comments. Please share it with your friends. And please subscribe to this program and spread the word. And if you can, please turn on the notification so that you don't miss the content on abundance and the practice of abundance going forward. And next time, I think we are going to talk about dreaming, which is very exciting to me because I love to dream, to imagine a better future. So I invite you to come back and join me, and let's build the village of abundance together. And until next time, thank you and take care.